Hey, YouTube, first things first. If you can hear us on there in YouTube and it sounds good, if you can let us know in the chat thread, that would be much appreciated. Oh, okay. It sounds good. All right. This is fun. Okay. All right. You guys ready?
Yeah.
All right. I mean, it's not too formal, so it's kind of. It is the 200 level Mike Carpenter in, not the basement studio, the makeshift garage studio for Braggin Rights 2023. And sorry, we're smoking cigars out here, so you might hear the occasional cough. This was a first half that was very cathartic for a series that had not been going too well for Illinois basketball recently. And currently they lead 49-24, and they look the part of a very good team, worthy of the 13th ranking in the and really the only other team probably outside of Purdue that could challenge for a Big Ten crown. But to be honest, tonight's the focus. The non-conference is the focus. And what this team can accomplish ahead, I think the ceiling just continues to get higher when we see this team really come together far earlier than I thought that they would have. So Isaac Ambrose is at Braggin Rights. Trevor Valise is working, as he often does, for Field of 68. And I'm lucky to be joined by my two friends here, Andrew Wilson and Kenton Elmore. We'll call him producer extraordinaire, who will be mining the chat thread for comments and things that you might have to say. Andrew, we went to two Braggin Rights games together. We went to the 2012 edition where Tracy Abrams put Illinois up by 1 with free throws, and then Missouri missed a buzzer beater. And then we were there with Kenton as well for the Ray Rice buzzer beater. And those were fun. But I was telling you guys that the first one I went to was D and James' senior year with Jamar Smith as a freshman, where Illinois won by 30-something. And as fun as close games are, there's something nice about settling in for the second half podcast after what we just saw with a team that is looking like the legit top 13 ranking that they've gotten.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I mean, first of all, gratitude for you having me on here. I feel like this is the ultimate way to celebrate a winter break, right? I'm smoking a cigar. We just had a little Portuguese. We're drinking good whiskey.
Oh, that's right. We had Portuguese, not a sponsor.
Yeah. So thanks for having me on. This is super fun. I wasn't expecting to be doing this with a 24-point lead to open up, 25-point lead. So yeah, I mean, we look incredible. And yeah, I think it's more than just, we're making shots and Missouri's missing shots, but I don't think that's the full story. Like, we are attacking and we look like a sophisticated team that's, has, and this has been fun.
Well, you mentioned when you came over, so thank you, by the way, talk about gratitude. You brought the Porgies over, so that was a nice start to the night. And you mentioned that you weren't feeling great about this game, and I think a lot of Illini fans are probably in that same boat because it has not went well for us recently. And by the way, if you are following along play-by-play, and it doesn't mean quite as much when you're up 25, but I will let you know when Quincy inbounds this to Marcus Damask, right about we are underway, second half. But what I was going to say, Andrew, is I felt very confident about this game based on the makeup of this team and the fact that one thing I haven't questioned this year, Quincy takes it up, no good. One thing I haven't questioned about this team so far is the overall focus, minus really the first half of Valpo, which I know is random, but that was a very lackluster affair. But other than that, they've been on it, so I felt confident. But it does say something about this rivalry that you and I think many Illini fans were still entering a little cautious.
Yeah. I feel like this is always one of those games where, you look at the line and you can almost throw it out of the window, and it's just the game gets ugly and you sort of never know what's going to happen. I also really felt like, I think there's a lot to like about our team, but I think the sort of one glaring thing to me is, do we really have a point guard? And, I sort of came in thinking that Missouri would pressure us and force us to play faster than we wanted, turn us over a little bit. But that obviously is not the case.
Missouri's not a very good team, and that's part of the reason you're up 27 after a really nice putback there from Ty Rodgers. But I will say that's a bad block call right there on Terrence. I thought the shoulder was going in for Missouri. Anywho, 51-26 after they're going to count this bucket for Missouri. But I think for me, despite the absence of a point guard, I have been really encouraged the last 4 or 5 games with the overall ball movement. I felt like even though the assist numbers aren't there, if you really take into consideration that Terrence and then Damask on occasion have been able to kind of just take certain possessions one-on-one, that it's really more of a case of the turnovers have went down considerably and that you're getting good shots. Definitely. And I think, you mentioned when we were looking at the box score before this half started, the 25-point lead can be, of course, Damask. You see this? Okay, we'll talk about this bugaboo in just a second, even though Missouri missed that. But will they get the putback? They do, and one.
That's an instance of exactly what I sort of was envisioning. And obviously Missouri hasn't been able to kind of create those opportunities with any frequency, but that's just, that's us, our guard play, just not being able to handle the ball.
But here's the thing. The last few games, it's been Damask. Solely. Ty has actually done a pretty good job just getting the ball across the court. I do not know what Damask is doing.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, let's see a little bit more of Harmon.
Yeah.
Or Terrence. But whatever that is, that cannot happen from a fifth-year guy. I like Damask, but since that 33-point game against Florida Atlantic, it feels like we're kind of playing this mental game with him. We're trying to will him back into, hey, just be the confident guy. And it's like, wait, we should be playing these mind games of the 23-year-old.
Yeah.
Now, okay, that's nitpicking when you're up still. 22 with 18-20. And what I was going to say before that bad turnover is Quincy makes another
he is
three.
On fire.
He's on fire, yeah. Back to a 25-point lead. What I was going to say before that, though, was overall with this team, a 3 there from Sean East.
They can't miss them all.
They can't miss them all. Was the fact that this team offensively, from the Rutgers game to this point, has really seemed to find an identity. And I actually enjoy watching them on offense. And apart from a timeout against Florida Atlantic as Terrence draws a foul, going in that first media timeout against Florida Atlantic, I think it was like 3-2. And I thought to myself, man, this team's going to have these prolonged stretches because of a lack of point guard. They're going to have these prolonged stretches where they can't score, but that hasn't really been the case. So why is that? How can a team, even with a good collection of talent, overcome the lack of a traditional playmaking point guard? Can they? Long term, I guess, for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Terrence makes a free throw.
Sorry, I got distracted. I was dialed into Terrence drawing another foul there.
Back to a 23-point lead. I mean, can they withstand the fact that they don't have a Ray J. Dennis, for example? Because I do think, Ray J. Dennis, you're a top 5 team.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, it remains to be seen. I don't know. Rodgers is so young, too. It'll be interesting how he sort of evolves into this position. I don't know if he had the expectation coming in that he was going to be, the primary ball handler and playing point guard. So, I think he has so much upside as a basketball player. And I think probably a lot of the team's success, if we're really a top 10 team, sort of depends on how people fall into their role, with him probably being one of the most important pieces that needs to do that.
Illinois breaking the press pretty good today. You're seeing Missouri in bits and starts. Trying another 3 for Quincy doesn't make it, but Ty's there for the board. Ty. Oh, back up to Damask. Oh, my God, dude. Damask is killing you. He really is. And this is going to be out of bounds on Missouri. A good break for Illinois.
But I appreciate him trying to make the extra pass there, but
I do. But get Harmon out there, and
he's being very sloppy with the ball.
I mean, it's easy to nitpick when you're up 22, but it's just, I don't know. Is this a thing now? It feels like there's kind of a head game being played, like I mentioned with Damask, and he was the last one I expect that for. Now,
it almost feels like Damask needs to be playing 3 instead of the 2.
A little bit, and it feels like ever since that Florida Atlantic game, he's playing with this weird pressure. I don't know. Which I don't think he should feel that way, because no one would expect him to do that every night. But I think 12 points a game is reasonable for someone of his draws a foul. Now, it will be a shooting foul, and it's kind of an adventure when Ty goes to the free throw line. All right, so here's a reset right now. It's 17:03 to go in the second half. It is a 22-point lead for Illinois over Missouri. Missouri has looked the part of a middling team. Well, this is not a shooting foul. I got to be honest, Andrew. I like Ty, but I'm kind of glad this is not a shooting foul.
Yeah. What's he at the line year to date?
50%.
50%.
Yeah. And not that he gets there much, but it's not too good. Inbound to Terrence. 17 to go. This is Quincy taking it. Draws the foul.
He's a bulldog.
He really is. And early this season, I think the first 3 or 4 games, he was maybe getting 6, 7 points a game. I think he's been on a heater the last month.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he's still doing the little things that you brought him in for, which are rebounding and defense, and the fact he's a 6'8", 24-year-old or whatever he is.
Yeah, he's an absolute man.
Man, okay. So Quincy will go with the line. He's already got 15 points, which I think Terrence has 17. He hasn't scored yet this half, I don't think. We have Quincy with 15. Make that 16 after another made free throw. He has been, I would imagine, even with Damascus 33 points, I wouldn't be surprised if Quincy was your second leading scorer the last month.
Yeah. Doesn't hurt that he's wearing a $600 pair of sneakers. Kenton
Is that what those things
earlier, the Kobe Grinches.
Let me.
And that's just a ballpark guess. But
There's Kenton there. Sorry. Okay, so the Kobe Grinches. This is the thing.
I believe so. Andrew's probably more of an expert than me, but
Are they Nikes or Adidas? He was Adidas.
no, they're Nikes.
Oh, they are
Definitely
Nikes.
Nikes.
Okay. A foul, no call. Okay, so it looked like a little bit with that kick out from Missouri there on the 3, and they didn't call the foul. Just like that, back to a 24-point lead. They were trading buckets for a bit. Illinois with a chance to extend their lead. Here's Coleman, who I think Coleman has had a very good game, other than one kind of step-back 3 that was more of a last year sort of thing. But that right there was a bad shot. I jinxed him, apparently. With 16:20 to go, Ty Rogers gets a hand on a cross-court pass. And 16:19 to go, Missouri ball with 25 on the shot clock. All right.
So I'm fact checking myself here. The
This is on the Nike shop.
The Kobe 6 Grinches that released in 2020 on StockX. The last pair sold for $1,200. So I guess there's benefits of playing college basketball at Oregon. I imagine he didn't pay for those, but
Good God. I remember with the start of this year, I thought, why do we have 3 guys wearing bright green sneakers, which shows my lack of awareness of the sneaker game. But those are $1,200 shoes. Also, a recent father. Quincy, I think, is 24 years old. Father of like a 2-month-old. He is literally a man playing college basketball.
yeah, Illini Brick Girl on the thread, she said it. I think Andre Curbelo had a pair too. We were talking about
Yes,
that
that's
off
right.
air.
Yeah, he did,
I
yeah.
think Curbelo is the GOAT of flashing Nike shoes when he was here. He seemed to have a new pair pretty much every game.
He's also the go to mental breakdowns, apparently, because I don't know
That
where
is also true.
he's Southern Miss. I think the first game that he had back, he got a technical foul and went to sit in the stands at the fans. It's actually, I don't want to make fun because it's kind of a sad story, but 58-36, back to a 22-point lead for Illinois. Missouri coming out with some energy here in the second half. Illinois basically trading buckets with 15:40 to go. Terrence finds Quincy. Quincy trying to take baseline, but gets shut off there. Back up top to Damask, who's trying to take it in. And he finds Coleman. Finish it, Coleman.
Good.
Nice pass.
pass
to
Is that a
Quincy.
foul?
No foul, but when we get the goaltend, we do. They're going to call that, right?
It might have been. Was it a shot clock violation? No. Yeah, it was a goaltend.
There was a goaltend.
Yep, we'll take 2.
Okay. So what is that? 60-36 going in the break here. And do me a favor, Kenton, just check that chat thread to see if that was a goaltend or if that was a made shot, because they didn't update the score yet.
Yeah, I was
I'm
guessing
looking
by
at
the
that one,
reaction
too.
of the Mizzou.
All right, as we get an update on that, just a quick reminder, we are here in the garage today. It's time, December 22nd, last day of work for me at the school. I think for many today was, if you did have to work, sort of a just get through it and get to the weekend. And what a great start to Christmas weekend here with Illinois leading by 22 points. I'm going to hit the sponsors in a bit, but do we have an update on that? Was that a shot clock violation?
Goaltend. So
60-36. They'll update the score.
60-36. Garrier's at 19. Terrence also has 19. Hawkins 13-6.
Man, when you got a bunch of 6'7" guys that can all score and defend, that's a good mix. So what we'll do here, Ken, you got something else here in the text thread?
Well, I was just going to say Terrence actually 19-8. He's going for a double-double.
God dang. What I want to talk about after the sponsors is the long-term prospects of this team. I mean, granted, there's only 3 more months in the season, but there are certain things that this team is doing I didn't expect, and it kind of changes to me the calculation of what they can do. But before I do that, let's hit up the sponsors. DP Dough, online at dpdough.com. Piping hot calzones, as my friend Ben Yates would like to say. You can order online at dpdough.com. They deliver anywhere in Champaign-Urbana. That's dpdough.com. Also, Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing. Give them a call at 217-841-4728. Dogtown Heating, Air, and Plumbing, your home's best friend. Also got to thank State Farm agent Brian Hansen, online at brianismyguy.com for life, auto, home, business renters, you name it. Brian is my guy, and he can be your guy as well at brianismyguy.com. And finally, Owen Builders, LLC. online at owenbuildersllc.com. From home additions to patios and decks, probably going to be a mild winter, so don't let that dissuade you from getting a free quote for your next construction project at owenbuildersllc.com. Also, Champagne Showers Podcast Network. And we appreciate you, the listeners and the viewers and the YouTube feed on a late Friday evening as you get your Christmas weekend started.
Can I give an extra shout out to DPDO? I went to Illinois State University, and I know the original was here in Champaign-Urbana, but I lived like a block and a half my senior year of college, and that was a staple of my sort of meal plan my senior year. And shout out to Jamie McCartney. I think he technically was the first employee there, and he was my college roommate. I
honestly, though, wonder, when did it open at ISU? It was when you were in school?
It must have been 2008.
So I guess the Champagne one did come first. But the Fiala brothers, they're great dudes. And they also got this new Fiala Brothers brewery that's open and normal, too.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. Okay, so we're coming back from the break here. They did call that a goaltend, it looks like, unless they reviewed it. And if they did review it, it would be a shot clock violation, I think.
It was confirmed goaltend.
Okay, so 60-36 coming back here. I will say, Andrew, Missouri's bad.
Yeah.
And you're doing what good teams do to bad teams.
Yeah. Yeah, these next 5 minutes are crucial, too. We just, I think this is where you kind of stick the foot in their throat, and, you want to keep it above 20 here. But
I do think...
Would love to see a knockout punch.
Would love to see a knockout punch, too. There were times in the first half where it was hovering around 13, 14 points, and I was thinking, God, he could be up 20 right now. But at the same time, when push comes to shove, I look at these two rosters and I know that, okay, Illinois has these tools that if they need a bucket, they can go here, here, here. And Missouri seems to have Sean East, who has the ball right now. He's going to try to make something happen. And it's no good. And
they have no continuity. Like, I'm trying to understand their offense, and they're just having trouble getting any rhythm.
They're going to call away from the ball foul here on Illinois. It seems weird. That will be the third foul for Illinois. Both teams have 3 at the moment.
Brad P. on YouTube approves of the garage setup.
Thank you, Brad.
This is a hell of a setup, Carp.
Thanks, man.
Wow.
Well, here's how it started. So during some of the away football games, and Kenton was here for all of them, Nebraska was the first one because it was too windy and we were too pissed off with the Illinois football team, and they lost. Oh, that's going to be – they're – you see, either call a charge or a flop warning. Missouri gets the bucket here, but it seems like Terrence could we not give him the benefit of the doubt?
Yeah. He's strong enough. He's probably not falling naturally there.
So, Brad, this garage setup we got here – got the heaters installed. It is an unseasonably warm day, so that does help. But we're a toasty little 50-some degrees in here right now.
Sure as hell is a lot less work than setting up a tailgate.
It is, and that's why for the away games, we did for the Nebraska home game, and then we did it for the Minnesota game. Oh, nice. Quincy with another bucket. Great feed to him as well. Illinois back up 24. And then for the Northwestern game at the end of the year, when after the Iowa game and how it was cold enough to not want to be outside for 4 hours that day. And we did that here as well. So now it feels like, Brad, we can do these more often. And, Ken, you were talking about making this a tradition for the holiday season because, what a great way to start Christmas weekend, because next year it'll probably be Friday, December 21st. We'll be right back here doing the same thing.
Yeah, and they just renewed this series until what, 29?
29, yeah.
I'm down with that. I do think one of the cool things about the tailgate, obviously lots of great things about tailgating out in the lots, even when the football team is less than perfect. You would get a lot of fans from your podcast coming out and say hey to you. So,
giving me bottles of whiskey.
Yeah, I got to witness that firsthand a couple of times, which was awesome.
Now, I don't know, Mike, if you want to, disclose your home address on your podcast or not.
To actually have fans drop by the house, and this is fun. And for basketball season, I think that if it's not miserable out and there's certain away games, we could do that. All right, so we got a break here. It looks like Missouri, Dennis Gates is trying to rally the troops, and he called a timeout, being down 22 with...
What does that timeout sound like, Carp?
Well, if it's anything like Frank Haith, it's probably not the most compelling speech. I will say Dennis Gates has actually done a pretty solid job. He inherited kind of a mess because
this is year 2, right?
Konzo did not lead them. Yeah, it's year 2 for them. They did make the tournament last year. This is mostly portal guys. But Missouri is a basketball program, and this is why the Braggin Rights has been so vexing. They've not been good. And even when they had Jeremiah Tillman, Javon freaking Pickett, who I think went 3-1 against you after whatever, Mark Smith, who never lost a Braggin Rights game, won his one with Illinois, Brad Underwood's first year, and then won the next 3 with Missouri. before he transferred to Kansas State. Regardless, this has been a very frustrating series of late, Andrew. And I guess the question I got for you is, let's say we came out, we laid another egg, even if that meant a win tonight, right? Let's say that Illinois, just by sheer virtue of being more talented, were to win this game close. I made a comment this morning on Twitter that some agreed with, some did not, that I thought this was kind of an important game for Underwood because I know that March is clearly the biggest fish to fry, but I do think rivalries matter. And for a fan base that wants those signature moments throughout a regular season, this is one of those, even when Missouri sucks.
Yeah. I mean, this is, I think, Ken, I didn't know this until you said it, that the thing is renewed till 2029. But like, if we're going to be doing this every year, you want to build up the stamina or the goodwill, I guess, to try to win year in and year out. And college basketball has changed so much, right? Like it's, I'm so unfamiliar with the roster of Missouri and try to do a little bit of prep and research.
I know Sean East, and that's only because he's their leading scorer and he's good.
Yeah. And so, it's interesting taking the Tillmans and the Mark Smiths, who we knew so well, and then him obviously going to Missouri. And now every year it feels like free agency strikes and the rosters top to bottom are sort of brand new. But yeah, it's always fun. And, I have fond memories of experiencing this game with you guys in person a couple times
and watching it back at my parents' house back in high school. They're showing a clip right now, 1993 Braggin Rights. So this is one of my earliest memories of it. And honestly, when I was earlier, I remember not liking the game because in the 90s it was not Illinois' decade. Lou struggled late. Lon Kruger won 1 of 4. And that one they just showed on the screen was 1993. It looks like it'll be Illinois ball because Missouri scored. And 1993 was the triple overtime game where Kawan Garris, who holds the Illinois record for most consecutive free throws, I believe. Maybe Alfonso Plummer broke that. I forget. And, YouTube chat thread, let me know if I'm wrong. But Kawan Garris just had to make a free throw, I think, to win the game or extend it to another overtime, and he missed it. Or missed 2 of them that would have won the game. And Terrence with a 3. He's such a stud.
It's cold-blooded.
65-40. So for me, it was really what turned this series around was Bill Self's first year. Illinois with Frank Williams and that crew won in overtime, and it was a true top 10 matchup. I think it was 8 versus 6, and that was the first. Okay, I get it. I want this game moment, and ever since then, even in down years, like John Gross went, I think 4-1, 5-1 against Missouri. This has been Illinois' series until recently, so this is just a nice bit of catharsis tonight.
What was that attempt?
I don't know. I mean, Missouri is not getting good shots, and I got to give Illinois credit, and I got to say that Missouri just also looks bad. A nice pass here from Terrence.
He just puts so much pressure on the defense.
Damn. He is different.
Yeah. And is he a lottery pick? I feel like in the mock drafts, he's like climbing up boards again.
He's working himself into it.
I thought there was always a stigma, if you're because he's what 22, 23.
23?
That you don't draft an
At
older
least
kid,
going on 23.
I mean, the guy's undoubtedly an NBA player.
So this translates. The ability to get to the rim like that translates to the NBA as well.
Yeah, I think so.
And the defense.
I mean, the thing is tough for him is like he's, as a 6'7" forward who's really athletic, that is kind of a commodity in the NBA. But I think if he can carve out and for himself, he has all the tools. His jump shot has improved. So, yeah, I don't know if he's a lottery pick, but I think he definitely has some staying power in the NBA.
Ty could have taken that for a layup, but getting a little pass happy. This is Damask, who needs a 3, does not get it. Ty trying to get the putback dunk, and he does not get it. Hey, listen, I like Ty trying to be facilitator. I think he probably could have gotten the layup from the start, and that was a miss from Damask. And out of bounds. It'll be Missouri ball, point lead. I will say that Ty Rodgers, despite not being a threat to score, what I do like, Andrew, is he is finding ways to facilitate, and usually for him, it's get to the basket.
Yeah.
And then Illinois does a good job spacing the floor, so he usually has a guy at the perimeter he can kick it out. And I'm still seeing defenders crash on Ty. I'm seeing him be enough of a presence to at least invite a little bit of defense his way.
Yeah.
Even though you and I both know he's probably not going to be the one to score it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the trade-offs, I think we make some sacrifices on the offensive end, but he's done a decent job creating, but we're just so long. When you have a guy who's 6'5" and can guard multiple positions and then, potentially put back dunks from the one spot, the trade-off.
I'm sorry. This guy number 2 from Missouri, it was a tough bucket. And then he yelled and he clapped his hands and he got up to defend the inbounds pass, and the score is 65-42.
Yeah.
We
saw some of that in the first half too.
Ty.
The point guard, San won before.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Coleman gets the block, but they're going to call foul, but at least make him earn it.
I thought for a second he might have just taken him out of midair, but
damn,
I don't think that's a flagrant.
All right, so no. Yeah, he got ball. And
Coleman's
actually saying review it to say there's not a foul, but I don't think that's possible. I mean, I think what happened is the Missouri guy watched this. He puts his hand out, which invites the contact.
Yeah.
But listen, that's
a foul.
That's a foul. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so it is 65-42. Are they actually reviewing something here? Because right now there's a break in the action. And they're going to break. Just a reminder, 200 level brought to you by DPDO. Online at dpdo.com. Custom calzones with any topping you want, or one of their favorites like the Maui Wowie or the Buffer Zone. dpdo.com.
Illini Brick Girl on Threads a little bit unhappy with how many offensive rebounds Mizzou's got. They are out rebounding us on the offensive side, 14-12. That's the only stat that they're even close to comparable against us tonight.
That right there, I would agree with her. That, you know, Andrew, we were watching the first half, and there were moments where just loose balls where you're like, just grab the damn ball.
Yeah.
And against better teams, that's the kind of thing you need to clean up. So the good news is that I do not think Illinois has played a perfect game, and I think Missouri's played a subpar game even by their standards, hence the score.
Yeah.
I always like wins where you feel pretty good. Like Colgate was a good example of this. I still felt good afterwards, but there were enough things in the second half which made you think we got work to do. And what do they say? It's better to have a teachable moment after a win than a loss. I do think that this team, Andrew, the good thing is they're in a position where a lot of the things they need to fix are more tweaks than anything major, because it does seem like they've developed an identity on both offense and defense.
Definitely. I totally agree with that.
All right, so we're watching a preview for The Color Purple. I've never seen the original. Here's the thing, guys. With 12 minutes left in the game, we're gonna have to have some filler. I'm gonna be honest.
Well, Stephen Colbert 27 on the thread does say timeouts are driving me a little bit crazy. I've been blissfully unaware of whether or not this game has been a little bit slower than most or extra ads. Well, it is 9:45 and there's still
12 minutes
to go.
Well,
we've been having fun though. We haven't noticed.
Part of the problem is that this game started at like 8:12, and this is this new thing with college basketball. College football started doing this a few years ago too. 2:30 kickoff. You turn to Big Ten Network at 2:30. Kickoff in 13 minutes. What the hell am I doing here?
You remember some of those football tailgates? It felt like we were just out there, like almost until
for
sunrise.
Freaking
it's
ever.
Like this game. It's an 11 o'clock game, and the sun's going down before we actually pack stuff up.
Getting too old for this, but it is a Friday night. If this were a Wednesday or Thursday and I had to work the next day, I would start getting a little surly, but that's, I guess, old age.
Oh, sorry, Stephen Colbert. Well, he said TOs. I thought he meant timeouts. He said turnovers.
Oh, well, the turnovers as well, both. Now, I will say the turnovers, though, the messiness, Andrew, has gotten better. I'm not as concerned with the overall messiness that maybe I saw the first few weeks, but right there with the Damas turnovers around half court, these are things that are just so easily avoidable.
Yeah.
That for an older team, we see prolonged stretches of smart basketball. But we see these intermittent moments where they just make kind of inexplicable decisions. And is that something that is like, I don't know, innate? Like, are these things that you can't really coach out? They happen within the flow of the game? Or do you think that as the year goes on, we'll see less of those?
Question. I watch a lot of NBA basketball, and I think sometimes when I compare the two, I sort of have to temper my expectations.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they're kids and they make mistakes. I think one thing that's interesting that you're sort of calling out, it's been interesting to watch Underwood's kind of progression of how he manages mistakes. I haven't really seen him like and screaming as much in past years.
This year.
And some of the simple mistakes that we make, I don't know if it's because he doesn't want to do that to
a
my
God.
5th-year kid. That's bad.
Okay, Ty and Damask, just give it to Terrence. It's a 20-point game. I'm not freaking out, but it's just, come on.
I don't understand why Missouri wasn't doing this the first half.
I know. They were a little oddly passive defensively. Okay, so Damask and Ty are having issues. And here's the thing, Andrew. It's on them, but it's also, this is the one thing that is a valid criticism, a foul on Missouri, a valid criticism of Underwood that I know I've harped on plenty, but the lack of getting a point guard and not having DGL ready to go, ready, he wouldn't have been ready either, even though he had moments in the first couple games. But
Yeah.
I mean, this is it's a team without a point guard, and they
Yeah.
have found a way in the half and transition offense to often get away with that. But when a team wants to pressure you, like if push comes to shove in March, and you're facing a good athletic team, Terrence, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah, I think March. I have a bias for great guard play, and so it's going to be interesting. Wherever we end up, to see how that maybe affects us.
All right, we got a 17-point game, and for the first time in a while, a little bit of adversity for Illinois, 65-48. A three-pointer from Caballero, whatever, who cares? And this is Terrence. He overshoots Luke Goody with a bad pass when I thought he could have just taken it himself.
Yeah.
Getting
It
too
looked
cute.
like he had a driving lane.
Well, Illinois on defense now, 17-point lead, and the Missouri fans feeling okay. What if you get this to let's say the 8 o'clock or the 8-minute media timeout, and it's like a 12-point game? Hey, they aren't dead, and this is a game that can get a little bit tight because of the atmosphere in there. So, a little bit of play-by-play. 10:50 to go. Missouri with the ball. This is Luke Goody up on number 2, and nice job by Coleman. We might have a break here.
Yeah,
Ty, you got to finish.
that.
Oh, they're going to call a foul. Yeah, Coleman's asking for the intentional. They don't do the open path in college, which is a joke.
Those could have been our first points off turnover. They're beating us 12-0. They also have
On points off turnovers.
12-0. Mizzou's beating us, and down at the bottom of the stat line, they are also dusting us. They have 8 turnovers. We only have 2.
Wow.
We have 2 turnovers?
2 turnovers.
Wow.
So, wait. They have 12 points off of our turnovers?
They have 12 points off turnovers. We have 0.
But we only have
right.
2 turnovers? Or we have 8 and they have 2?
I feel we've turned it over 3 times in the last
we have turned
5
it over
minutes.
8 times.
Got it. Okay.
Okay.
That makes sense. Missouri has not turned the ball over much. They just can't make a basket. And I would imagine that the defensive rebounds reflect that. But, okay. Here's Ty kicking out to Luke. Got to make it. Okay. Ty get it. Thank you. Ty gets it. He gets it back out to Terrence. Terrence with a chance here. Over to Marcus. Marcus trying to drive a baseline. It's getting a little bit fast here, and we get a foul, and Marcus will go with the line. It was getting a little bit.
I think he got bailed out there.
Yeah, I think so. I got a little frenetic there, Andrew, and I felt like the pace was. I like the up-tempo pace, but it seemed like Missouri was kind of getting Illinois to run around with chickens with their heads cut off. With 10:25 to go, Marcus will go with the line for 2.
It's interesting Harmon isn't in here.
I know. I don't understand.
I feel like this is maybe his calling, like just somebody competent who can kind of handle the ball, who's
Give you a bucket?
experienced. Yeah.
Points on 2 of 8 shooting, 5 boards, 4 assists. He makes the first free throw. Hey, listen, if you can make free throws, that will overcome poor field goal shooting because I feel like that kind of slump you can overcome. But if I were to see bad free throw shooting, I'd feel like it's more of a true mental thing that he's kind of working through. He's got 5 points. Second free throw is up and good. Okay. So it's back to a 19-point Illinois lead, so a good possession there. Maybe a little break from the officiating. Did not look like the worst of fouls. A 3-pointer from Missouri is up and no good. And a board here for no good.
Block.
Out of bounds on Missouri. Okay. Who blocked that? Last one, Terrence.
It looked like Shannon got a fingertip on it. He's so active around the rim on defense.
Man. I mean, 5. Okay, so the Colgate game, I think 12 of his 14 points he got in the first half, and 3 of his 5 blocks. 5 blocks for a guy that I guess is technically a 2 is something else. And okay, pressure from Missouri. Damas trying to get across half court. He does.
He just looks uncomfortable.
He looks very uncomfortable.
Situation.
And that right there is like square peg round hole. It felt like real. So how much can I put on him when it's not his natural position?
Right.
Cross court to Ty. Over to Damas. The 3 is no good. He still cannot make a 3. But Coleman draws the foul. Missouri was holding on to him. So it is still after all this, Andrew.
Yeah.
We felt like momentum was maybe changing. I mean, listen, Missouri is outscoring you by 6 this half. That's not great, but that's basketball. I mean, you aren't going to outscore opposing teams by 25 every half. Sometimes you just play them square after that. But it is good to see Illinois, after it got to 17, an opportunity here to extend this lead even more. 1-1 coming up for Coleman, it looks like.
This Nick Honor kid, number 10 for Mizzou, is giving me serious Khalid El-Amin vibes.
I saw his picture on the starting 5. That's not a basketball player. It's a fullback.
Yeah.
He looks like a fullback. All right, Coleman with 13 points, 7 boards. I think a really good night so far for Coleman. Free throw was up and good. Hey, that's a soft roll. I'm going to give that to him. So back to a 20-point lead for Illinois. Quincy back. There we go. Okay. There are certain guys that when they check back in, listen, the starting 5 is really good for this Illinois team. And I think that, well, let me put this way. 4 of the 5 are really good. Ty Rogers has moments. Justin Harmon has moments as well. I think those guys are somewhat interchangeable depending on the matchup. But there are 4 guys that whenever they're out there, that would be Coleman, Quincy, Terrence, and Damask. I overall feel really comfortable.
Yeah.
21-point lead. 9:30 to go. Harmon trying to get the steal. Coleman helping out here. This is Sean East.
Good defense.
That's great defense. I know he made it.
Yeah.
But you did everything defensively that you could on that. And that was just a better bucket there from Sean East. So because they made it, Missouri gets to set up the press. Good job by Damask, sensing the pressure. And we're going to get Terrence faking the 3, trying to take a baseline. Up and in.
Wow.
He is so freaking good,
He
man.
just lives at the free throw line, too.
71-50 after Terrence invites the foul. We'll get an and one. In Illinois, what I really like, Andrew, is they're getting counter punches from Missouri, but in this 3-4 minute stretch, they're throwing them back.
Yeah.
To keep this from becoming a game.
Yeah. That's exactly what you want to see, too. You want to see your best player attack the basket, get something easy. That's a skill, too. He has a knack for just being able to draw contact and finish while he's doing it.
Not sure if the refs are looking at something here, but with 9:10 to go, Aiden Shaw fouls out with 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go, but he did have 2 points. Good God. What a terrible stat line. I mean, he was probably out there for 15 minutes. Well, Terrence will go to the line. Chance to make this a 22-point game. I just wondered, were the refs looking at something? I don't see the whole, someone fouled out, got to get someone in there. The free timeout with 9 minutes and 10 seconds to go. Missouri's not very good. I mean, they're like finish a 500 overall record kind of team, it looks like. Here's Terrence. Not good on free throws tonight by his standards. He's shooting maybe 66%. Okay, so here's Nick Honor, the fullback, but Damask keeps him in front of him. Coleman up top here. A little bit of a mismatch, but we'll see if they can't get a switch. This is now Damask. Okay, Harmon going over the pick on Sean East. And here's Nick Honor with a...
Wow.
Are you kidding? Like, it doesn't look good, but he made it. He made it. Good for him. 19-point lead for Illinois with 8:40 to go.
It makes me nervous when they get to set their defense, too, after a made basket.
Yeah, and here's Damask. Gets it across.
That's
okay,
clean.
Well done.
Nice and easy.
I do think, too, Andrew, that... my God, that's so terrible.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a break there because Terrence thankfully saved the day for Damask, who lost it again. Finish it.
There we go.
Yes, there we go. All right, Terrence on the break and a nice feed from Coleman. I cannot
Damask, it has to be
It's
addressed.
careless.
It's egregious.
Like, get your head out of your ass, Damask. Sorry. Okay, it's second half podcast. I can say ass, though. Okay, this is Terrence. Jesus. You can't
Just
stop
bully
him.
ball.
Is he going to get 30 tonight? I mean, he seems on pace. 26 already.
Yeah.
7 for 11. Listen, I like Damask, but I'm sick and tired of these stupid turnovers.
Yeah.
But when you got a guy like Shannon, man, sometimes it doesn't matter. Illinois back up 23 because he got Terrence Shannon. And I think, is the second best player tonight Coleman? Terrence, Coleman,
probably,
Quincy?
yeah. He's been a little bit quiet. Quincy's been great.
But Coleman, the second half, I think, has been sneakily good.
Yeah, hit a couple of those open threes in rhythm first half.
Yeah. 75-52 at the under 8 timeout, 7:51 to go. Yeah, listen, I'm not trying to be a jerk about Damask, but like no shooting, and I know he's being asked to be point guard, but it's literally just don't turn the ball over.
Yeah.
And
at a certain point, you just got to put the guy in a position to succeed, and I think you just don't want him being a primary.
At a certain
handler.
point, you got to stop doing it.
Yeah,
and that means more Harmon, I guess.
Yep.
Or it might be more DGL.
Yeah,
I mean, Damask. If we were to do, I don't know, plus minus. I know it's an imperfect stat. I'd be interested to see it with Damask tonight. I think everyone's going to be plus.
Has DGL gotten in tonight? No,
he has not.
He hasn't. He probably will here shortly. Though.
Now, do either of you guys have the box score, and does it include assist turnover? Because I want to see how many turnovers Damask has, because I feel like it's 4 or or 5 for a guy that's only asked to partially sometimes bring the ball up.
Damascus
has 3.
3 turnovers in the box score.
He's got 3.
He's 2 of 9
Ty's
from the
got
floor.
3.
Even some of the non-turnovers, like he's been sloppy.
He's
with
been
the
bad.
ball.
He's been bad.
Yeah.
Let's call it what it is. He's been bad since the Fort Atlantic game. Looking for moments from him to indicate that he might get back, but he's a mess right now.
Yeah.
And listen, you could do worse because he is still able to get you a bucket sometimes. But he went from the guy I want number 2 having the ball to like number 4 or 5, and that happened within the span of 2 weeks. So I hope this break here. They got a week coming up. They had 8 days between whatever the last game was in Colgate, and I thought he finished the Colgate game well, and I was hoping for some carryover, but not getting that tonight.
Yeah, he's also 0 of 6 from downtown.
Shannon's got his double-double, 28 and 10.
Jesus.
Guerrier's got 21, Hawkins 15.
How many rebounds for Quincy? I know Coleman has 8, I think.
Quincy's got 7.
God, dude. Think about
Hawkins
this.
has 7.
You have 3 guys on the verge of a double-double.
Outside chance of 3 double-doubles. Terrence is going to score 30.
Terrence is so good. I mean,
I don't think anybody on Mizzou has 10. Like, they've shot the ball 65 times, something like that.
let's have a conversation about Terrence. You know, to compare his apples and oranges, I suppose, but we're talking 23-year-old Terrence, 5th-year college player, versus 3rd-year Io. I mean, you could have the debate that Terrence is better than 3rd-year Io, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's
It gives you a
a lot to
chance.
unpack in that conversation.
It gives you a chance.
Yeah. Yeah, pound for pound, just pure basketball. I think it's a fair argument. I think it's impossible to measure how brave Io was in sort of a program that was disjointed, didn't have momentum, to
100%.
come here and put us back on the map. And
Like, in a way, it's almost easier for Terrence to do it in the current status of the program,
Yeah.
post-Io.
Yeah. But coming back this year, I mean, the guy's work ethic is clearly tired.
Crazy.
And he's put himself in an amazing spot to become an NBA player.
When he came back, I was excited, but I also remember times last year where, I don't know, there was a stretch in maybe mid-January through early February where Terrence was not assertive, and I thought, man, there's something not clicking with him mentally. Now, I think for the whole team, there were a lot of things not clicking mentally, and I think that he probably got fed up with it. So to see him become the alpha dog like this, from game 1, from the jump, he has been that, and we're seeing that tonight in a rivalry game. You know, he said in the press conference, and we're back underway with 7:40 to go. He said in the press conference before the game or media availability that he remembered last year and that he didn't want that to happen again. And it sounds like lip service and all that, but I thought, you know what? I believe Terrence. The way that he's played tells me that there is a singular focus that he has this season that either he didn't have or was unable to have last year based on the guys that were around him.
Yeah.
Ty with a nice finish.
I think Matt Meyer was sort of the people thought that he was supposed to be the leader, and I think he demonstrated that he probably wasn't that guy.
Matthew Meyer?
Yeah.
That guy couldn't have cared less. If he never steps foot back on our campus, no one's going to mind.
Yeah.
And this is someone that could score points in a game.
Yeah.
But he was such a dope.
Yeah, he was.
As a person. And
yeah,
I
think
say
he
that.
really
I've never met the
detracted
guy.
from our success. But
yeah. I mean,
Shannon this year has taken over that leadership spot that I think Meyer was sort of assumed was going to just fill last year.
But let's even talk about Coleman, right? Because early this year, there were moments where Coleman's, let's call them histrionics, if you want to. It can be off-putting. Since the Rutgers game, I have not seen that from Coleman. Now, it's easy to say that when you're winning.
Yeah.
And he still plays with emotion. But I also see a Coleman Hawkins that's playing within himself and playing smart basketball. So I have no issues with Coleman since Rutgers.
Yeah.
Since he came back from the injury, I think he's been pretty damn good. So, and that's mental and the physical parts of the game. But Quincy Guerrier is another example of someone that you went out to the portal, you got someone as Coleman misses both. I feel like I jinxed him. That you went out to the portal and got someone like a Quincy Guerrier who is not a vocal leader, but kind of that surly old veteran guy that the younger guys they have on your roster would look up and say, well, this guy knows what he's doing. He's basically a pro. I know it's college sports, but basically Quincy Guerrier is a pro.
Yeah.
I shortchanged the Tigers a little bit. East does have 16 points. I think you need to get somebody better to watch your stat lines on your podcast.
You're doing fine. 16 for Sean East. Okay. Well, he was the guy that you had to kind of contain, and so far you've done an okay job of that. We have not seen the 7'5" behemoth this half, who was 0 for 3 from 3, and none of them were close. I don't know if the cigar smoke is coming through the mics for Nat's sound or not. But man, is it nice to have a cigar on December 22nd. And not freeze your fingers off. Okay, so Damask and Goody come back in, and it looks like the 5 that we got right now, with 6:38 to go, it is a 21-point Illinois lead. This has been, listen, these halves happen. Missouri, get the board. Got the board. Thank you, Quincy. These halves happen, Andrew, where you take a big enough lead, you're really just kind of maintaining.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
And would I have liked a 50-point win? Sure. But I do take some value in the fact of, okay, in games where this team does get a big lead against some lesser Big Ten teams, what do they do in the second half? And for me, what I've been most impressed with is Quincy doesn't make that 3, but Luke Goody gets the board. Quincy, holy crap.
Wow.
What the take. A man's
Euro
take
step
right there.
and
Euro
one.
step.
Wow, man.
He's strong.
He is so strong. What I like, Andrew, is that while it's not like we're seeing a new way for this team to win, we're seeing a new way for them to maintain a big lead against a bad team, and there are bad teams in the Big Ten.
Totally. I think the other thing too, I mean that's super promising. As much as we've been kind of knocking Damask today, a couple games ago, I mean, he scores what, 32, 34 points?
33. Yeah.
And if Quincy's that guy tonight, I think a lot of times it's like, can somebody unexpectedly step up?
Dude,
and
that
our
is
roster
a man's move.
That is, yeah.
Euro step. Shout out Fat Perez.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this. Like the Missouri defender grabs his right arm. Wow. So Quincy with a chance for 3. Back to a 23-point Illinois lead. You entered the half. Is this another foul out? Jesus Christ. Looks like the assistant taking the lead from Missouri.
Honors got 4.
Okay. Not sure whether there's a stoppage here.
3.
Hey, I will say Nebraska is kind of an interesting team in the Big Ten. I could see them finishing about, 8th or 9th, whereas usually they'd be 12th or 13th. Ohio State, solid. Michigan State, after that shellacking of Baylor, they look like, they're probably still a top 4 team in the Big Ten. But, I mean, Andrew, is it safe to say that Illinois is the second best team in the Big Ten and not particularly close?
I think so.
I mean, Wisconsin is next, and, I mean, you're like me. I can't do that anymore. It's just, it drives me nuts. But objectively, I don't think they're as good as Illinois.
Yeah, for sure. Michigan State's always somehow sort of sneaks up on you, but I don't think this is an up year for them.
All right, so it looks like Quincy will go the line for 1. 6:09 to go. Yeah, the second half not as action-packed as the first, but nice opportunity to reflect on what we saw. And, oh, wow, it looks like we got intentional, too.
Is that a good call?
I mean, when you just grab a guy's arm and you aren't making a play on the ball, I suppose, but I've seen far more egregious than that.
Yeah.
I did not think intentional when I saw that.
Yeah, that surprises me a little bit.
Quincy makes both, and then does he get another one here? Yeah.
Here you go from Illini Brick Roll. Quincy, over the last 3 games, 60 points.
Holy crap.
Over 60 points now.
And I would imagine the 2 before that, probably like, 8, 9, 10. So he's probably a good 14, 15-point a game guy in the last month. Quincy on the inbounds, nice. Okay, You are avoiding the pressure when you pass it quickly. Less dribbling, more passing. Damask, up and good.
Right.
That is
Good
what I want to
him
see
get
from
one
him.
go through the
Yep.
cylinder.
Just inside the free throw line there to make it a 27-point Illinois lead. I had mentioned earlier there's another turnover. Oh, here's Terrence. This is all him. Oh, my God. A dime pass to Quincy, but getting it'll be Illinois ball.
Maybe a little too cute there.
A little too cute. I
Yeah.
think Terrence could just finish that.
Yeah.
Trying to thread the needle, but
Appreciate the unselfishness. Trying to.
yeah, for sure. So I mentioned Illinois, Missouri back in 2005. So this is after the Final Four, D and James senior year. And if someone on the YouTube thread could find out, as it's now a 29-point lead, Marcus Damask with 2 straight buckets, what the biggest margin of defeat is in Braggin Rights history. That's what we got to effort here with 5:30 to go. It is a 29-point lead for Illinois with 5:20 to go. So what is the all-time biggest spread? And Luke Goody's not helping matter here. There's an and 1 for Missouri. Damn. I'm pretty sure it's
You think
30
it's?
something.
Are you taking the over on 25?
At this point, yes,
Yeah.
because I do think that, eventually even the team that's down by a bunch calls off the dogs as well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, but I meant like all time. You think
we go.
the greatest defeat?
oh,
is,
all time it's
yeah.
over 25.
Yeah.
Illini Brick Girl's got it. If she's at 32 points in 2005.
2005.
32
huh.
points. Doesn't look like we'll get to that. Man, that was fun though. And I'm pretty sure Jamar Smith had a good game. So it's a 27-point lead.
So that would have
5-18
been.
though.
So that would have been D. Darren.
D and James. It was
D and James, right?
It was
right,
their senior year.
And then what did Missouri's roster look like?
Oh, they were bad. I mean, they were bad, but maybe not terrible.
Yeah.
Terrence misses the 3. Things like that would probably have to happen for you to get the all-time margin of Missouri 3. That's an air ball. Jesus Christ. I love it, though. I mean, listen, there is I mentioned the word cathartic a few times today, but the way this series has gone, it just feels good. It's going to be one of those things where I wake up tomorrow, Andrew, I'm like, oh, yeah, we just kicked Missouri's ass.
Yeah.
And that feels good.
Yeah.
And it's a Christmas tradition. I mean, it's happened more often than not in the times that we've been Illinois fans. Luke Goody 3, no good. Ty with a heads-up play. That's what Ty can do. Luke Goody wants another one. The
All
3.
right.
Yes.
Money.
30-point lead. So what, 32?
32.
Okay. It's on the table with 4:15 to go. And a foul driving in. Will it be 2 shots? It looks like they're going to call that a shooting foul.
We could still get to a hundo.
Well, so we had on our chat thread with the guys today, me and Trevor and Isaac. Trevor, I don't know if he was joking or not. He said Illinois 102, Missouri 67. That's in play.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
in play.
That's a hell of a call for
I
a
said-
6.5
Did
point
he
spread.
throw some change on that?
I said 82 to 68. I felt like it was going to be a comfortable win, but not like this. 88-59, so it's back to a 29-point lead. So, hey, we got something to watch for here. We got the all-time record I'm halfway through my stogie. What a good night.
What a great night.
God dang, man. Tub of tips and porgies, cigars, whiskey.
And looking ahead, so Dan Outlaw earlier, the chemistry and the fun this team is showing gets me excited for March.
I agree. In a way that I certainly didn't last. I mean, listen, last year the non-conference wins were fool's gold. They were comebacks against Texas and UCLA. The Penn State game was an early indicator that things were not right. 2 years ago, the goal was a Big Ten title, and they did that. But I don't think anyone thought that they were legit. Like, look at Ty, man.
Yeah.
That's what he can do. And that's why he gets playing time with an offensive rebound. Illinois up 28, 3:55 to go. Terrence looking for something here, taking it to the rim. Base. Oh, my God.
He's really
Andrew.
improved that right hand, too. He looks way more comfortable going
He
right
wanted the
this year.
foul on that, too. Oh, my God. He almost gets the steal. Look at him play his ass off, man. Terrence, I call the 30 spot. Not that that's a bold prediction, but I told Trevor and Isaac that as well.
Don't love to see him limping there, though.
Yeah. Probably time to get him out. Probably a little sore. Okay, so Missouri going to try to, Sean East going to chuck a 3, and he's taking it to the rim. Ah, damn you. 28-point lead. I really want this all-time record.
I think it might be Shannon's ankle. I
Yeah.
don't know if someone in the pile
Time to sit him down.
turned it. Yeah.
Time to sit him down.
Yeah, get him out of
28-point
there.
Illinois lead here with 3:20 to go. So here we are. It's 90 to 62 with 3:19 to go. Illinois is going to win this game going away. I mean, at this point, I'm going to have fun watching the season with no pressure of winning a conference title. Because, I mean, you don't think they would beat Purdue for the Big Ten title, do you? I like this team a lot. But it does seem like Purdue, when you got a freak like Edie and you got a good backcourt, that's kind of all you need.
Yeah. And I don't see it happening, unfortunately.
So in a way, I find it kind of like unencumbering. There's not the need to watch these games. And if you drop one, you think, oh, crap, we aren't going to win the Big Ten. I don't expect that anyway. So I'm kind of looking forward to the rest of the Big Ten season and just seeing, okay, for me, it's all about playing yourself into a better seed. Can this team maybe get a 3 seed, right? Right now, they would be. In a lot of the projections, they would be a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. I think the way that this season would end, it'd be hard for me to imagine them worse than a 5 seed.
Yeah.
And if that is the case, then the good news is you avoid playing a 1 or 2 in the Sweet 16. I think that's really important.
Yeah. The season is still so young too. You and I were talking about this before. I don't know if Kansas is a top 2 or 3 team.
Hell, you already beat them.
Marquette looks great. They're 6th in the country, coming off of a good win tonight. But like, I don't know. I think that there's a lot of runway in the season, and I think we can realistically be a top 3 seed.
I'm just excited in a way that I didn't think I was going to be. There was someone this morning on Twitter that rightly called out that I had been down on Underwood, and yeah, that's true. I think that last year, the off the court kind of shenanigans and the bad vibes, they were kind of exhausting, and I long-term play here now. The answer to that in this college basketball landscape is that there is no long-term play other than get a good NIL fund, go get dudes. And Underwood can get dudes. We know that. But I think that I am impressed, despite the striking out on Ray J. Dennis, I am impressed with the roster he put together and how quickly he's been able to get all these guys to buy in less than 6 months after what was in many ways kind of a disaster of a season.
Yeah.
Right? And to me, that shows a coach with an ability to adjust. And I will say that one thing Underwood's done, I think, a good job of, Andrew, is that he really does adjust to whatever roster he has.
Totally. Yeah.
They have different identities, each of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the brand that Underwood has sort of built here kind of mimics an Izzo, where it's like no matter what the product is on the floor, these guys are going to be tough and they're going to play really hard. And
last year was an aberration in that front.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I still think that this whole every coach is trying to figure out how to navigate the portal. And so I think Underwood has a perspective that he wants to get, more senior guys from other programs and strategy. I think he has conviction in what he's trying to do.
Well, I'll say this as well. So you are about to go 9-2, and beating Fairleigh Dickinson, you go 10-2 in the calendar year. And I think back to the team that got a 1 seed. Obviously, their ceiling was higher, I think, when you had a Kofi and an Io. Andre Curbelo playing at a freshman All-American level, right? Because keep in mind, Curbelo was fantastic the last month of that year. I mean, he was special.
Yeah.
And that's why he was a preseason All-American the next year, right? It looks like this is going to be Terrence will get his standing ovation. He got one more ovation so he could get a deserving standing ovation from the Illini faithful. 90-62 with 2:56. The 32-point all-time biggest margin of victory is still in play here. With 4 in the shot clock, Quincy's just going to have to chuck it up. Nope, it's going to be Damask. He wants a 3. The 3 is up. Good-looking shot. Quincy can't quite corral it. Okay. But Andrew, in a weird way, that team back in when they got 25-point lead, probably not going to happen tonight. When they got the 1 seed, even though they beat Duke that year, and Duke did not end up being very good, it's not like the non-conference was without issues. There were some really lackluster performances. They got smoked by Baylor in a non-conference game. They lost at Missouri and Columbia in the COVID year. And there were even a couple of losses in early January at home, which Quincy Guerrier with another 3. There were a couple losses at home against Maryland and Ohio State that kept you from winning the Big Ten regular season crown. What I'm saying is this team, I don't think will reach the heights of that team in the regular season because I don't think their ceiling is as high as a Kofi, Io, Curbelo at his best. But they have yet to have the valleys of what we've seen from some previous teams.
Yeah.
I think that counts for something.
Totally. If you can take care of business and do what you're supposed to in the games you're supposed to win, that for sure counts. It's interesting. We haven't really talked about Dane Danger at all.
Yeah, and I got to be honest.
His role's fading.
It's going to become more and more diminished now that Coleman's healthy.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's a long-term play with that anymore because Dane, you have to play a certain way with him out there. And you see Hansberry. He gets in there before Dane now. DGL takes the 3. Look at Hansberry.
Love that.
He is, I think he mentioned this either on the air or off the air, but he's built kind of different.
Yeah.
He's not like super ripped, but he's wide. He's like a rectangle. And there's something about his game, Andrew, that I just like the overall. Quincy takes a seat, standing ovation, again deserved. The old guys are just doing it for this Illinois team. But there's something about Hansberry that just screams to me like it's going to click for him.
Yeah.
It will click for him.
Yeah.
And they call that a jump ball. It'll be Missouri ball. The 32-point all-time spread will stick. It looks like. But 25-point lead with 1:15 to go.
So Gary sits down with 28.
28?
What a game.
Dane's not on the stat line. Did he score tonight?
No, he only played like a minute. I don't think he recorded a stat.
Yeah, he's barely out there.
What's that effect? The Tony Snell effect? But he had like a 28-minute game where he had literally 0 points, 0 assists, and 0 rebounds. Which Io had one recently.
He did.
But Io was actually, in the post-Levine era, finding a bit of a role in that Bulls team. They're looking better. Here's Hansberry. Look at that.
There you
He gets
go.
his first bucket in a Braggin Rights. A nice feed from Damask. So it's a 27-point Illinois lead with 42 seconds to go. Listen, Andrew, unqualified success tonight. I mean, it's just, this is as impressive a Braggin Rights game that I've seen in at least 15 years. And at a time that I think the fan base probably needed it the most. And I think it also speaks to this team's consistency.
Yeah, I'm speechless. I didn't think that this was going to be the outcome, but it's been an absolute blast.
Unsure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really was. I feel like I've seen us get burnt enough times in this game that's just so competitive in a dogfight. But
I feel like the first media timeout was like 9-4.
yeah,
And Illinois looked spirited, and for me, that was like the first test. I felt like we would know within the first 4 minutes what Illinois team we would get, but the more I think about it, we've pretty much gotten that team all year. You got it at Tennessee. Tennessee was just better than you, and it was on the road. You got it against Marquette. It was a spirited performance. They were just better than you, and they had a point guard, and that hurt you early on. And maybe another game against Marquette, I think you could flip the script. But overall, hey, credit to Brad Underwood. I mean, I know that I have been critical of him, and I think justly so in some cases, but it's working right now. And, I mean, what's the ceiling, Andrew? I mean, I think given the matchups, the ceiling, we could talk deep tournament run. I would not.
Yeah, I think so too. The only thing that really worries me, and I'm probably beating a dead horse here, but I'm still not sold on our guard play yet. I really think that in March we need somebody who can command a game. And,
Holy crap!
Wow,
Is that Michael Red? I think the kid's name is Red. He's a red shirt walk on.
this is fun because this just stings for Missouri.
Oh yeah.
And
a 3 at the buzzer. But Illinois wins nonetheless by 24 points, 97-73, and they will hoist the Braggin Rights Trophy, which they have not done in a couple years. Kofi, in his last year at Illinois, did get that when Illinois won the Big Ten regular season crown. But it feels, listen, I'm not going to try to pull the whole shtick that Illinois, that's where the trophy belongs, but historically, that's where it goes. Illinois wins 2 out of every 3 in this series, and to do so in such emphatic fashion, even against a not-so-good Missouri team. And to me, this was always kind of a jumping-off point for Christmas. I know that sounds ridiculous, but like there were certain moments where there'd be a big win, like Frank Williams in Illinois in overtime, Bill Self's first year. I was feeling that game for a few days. This is the kind of thing, Andrew, that for the next week before they play Fairleigh Dickinson, if I'm chatting at a holiday dinner and someone's saying, hey, Illinois basketball, it adds that little extra bounce to your step.
Totally.
And yes, a bad team. You beat them by 24 in a rivalry game.
Yeah, we did what we were supposed to do and more.
Well, Ken, thank you for perusing the YouTube chat feed. And Andrew, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me on. This was a blast.
I
really
appreciate it. I mean, I love this sort of impromptu garage tailgate. Anything else in the YouTube feed, Ken Toner?
Not much. Congratulatory comments. Everybody's happy. What did we say at the beginning of this? We really just need a butt kicking.
We get kicking. I mean, that was something else. So, hey, for those that joined us late on a Friday night, you had plenty of other things you could have been doing. So we thank you for that. We are going to take the next week off for Christmas and all that stuff, and I will be going to the Fairleigh Dickinson game, so I would imagine that the next time I hop on will be before New Year's to kind of wrap up what was, 2023 started with a New Year's bowl game for Brett Bielema. It was a loss, but it was still fun down there. A really tumultuous Big Ten season for Brad Underwood and his 6th Illinois team. A really up and down football season, but this Illinois basketball team seems to be getting things right for Illinois fans. And I tell you what, they were an easy team to root for, an easy team to like. They play their butts off, and I think they're pretty damn good. Borderline top 10 when the new rankings come out on Monday. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. Have a great rest of your
Have a good night,
holidays.
everybody.
And,
Happy holidays.
Andrew, Kenton, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks again.
We'll make this a yearly tradition.
I love it.
All
I'm
right.
gonna brush up on my broadcasting skills.
You did great, man. You did
I'll learn how
great.
to use stat lines.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. Have a great Christmas and a great holiday break here, and we will see you next week. It is the 200 level. Thanks, YouTube. Appreciate y'all.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Merry Christmas.